Everybody, Jamal Focus Fishing here in 253 in the home studio. Welcome to my inaugural first podcast style video talking crappie in the Pacific Northwest. I got some information I want to put out for you guys, a couple tools for people to use, and things that I put out in the past in my private group, kind of letting people know how I find what I find. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm going to bring this down a little bit and try to put it out to you. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about, all right, I want to share a screen with you. So I'm on the Washington State website, and I want to show this out to people who didn't know. You go to Places to Go, and you come over here and you go down to lowland lakes, all right, and you're seeing some stuff going on, but nothing really did. And you get down here and it says find lowland lakes, and you can go by name, you can go by county, but we're just going to search by species because we need to find where we could catch some black crappie. Probably. Not necessarily they're going to be there, but maybe they might be there. Okay, so we'll hit show those lakes. Okay, so then we scroll back down here, and it just kicked out a bunch of names of lakes in different counties. And we can specifically, we want to know what our county is. And these are the lakes they're saying. Now, just because they say they're in there, they may be there, they may not be there. You wouldn't know unless you went and fish for them. Crappie fishing in the Pacific Northwest, especially in the west side, you kind of have to embrace the philosophy that we'll fish for them, and maybe they will be there. So it's kind of like a golf course, you know. Some days it'll lay one way or the other way. The dew on the grass, it'll cut this way, depending on who cut the mower, and then if we turn the blades around the other way. All right, so it's kind of how it lays out. You got to really be willing to invest some time and say, hey, I'm not necessarily in for the fish right now, but I need to know how to pattern the Pacific Northwest. So this right here will be one tool that we'll show you. Okay, and let's go ahead and I'll switch over to Navionics. So in Navionics, this is a Navionics Chart viewer. This is another free application that you can do on the chart viewer. And if you really wanted to know what some structure would look like and you didn't have a fish finder, or if you did have a fish finder and you wanted to download the Navionics app through Google Play Store or Apple Store or whatever, you know, you could use your location on your phone to find out how close you are to that feature that you're looking at. Okay? And so you can do this for any lake in the state. I mean, you can come on down here and you could look at some different stuff. I mean, there's Chester Morrissey. What's this? Howard Hanson Reservoir. Oh, that's Lake Taps right there. Come on down here. This is one of our favorite places to be. I was out here last weekend doing some stuff for kayak bass fishing Northwest, or Washington kayak bass fishing. Anyways, came in second thanks to my partner, Chris Corson. He did the majority of the work. I found the fish. He did the majority of the work. Much better feel of it than me. I'm not really good at fishing a jig, but I did manage to get a good fish. So I got some stuff on the board and got us back into the money. So that was a plus. So, but this is a crappie lake. This is where we're kind of at. And these are all new for Navionics, you know, showing these contours. 2 years ago, these contours weren't here. So thanks to Navionics and Garmin for going out and mapping this stuff for us, because before that, you wouldn't know. So that's one thing that you could use for that, okay? Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about is it's a tool that I use to pattern stuff, and that is the buoy data for Lake Washington. Now, Lake Washington and Sammamish have buoy data on it. Lake Union doesn't have anything on it anymore. It had stuff in the past, but it doesn't have anything on it. Okay, and what this will allow you to do, come on, let me close this guy up. What this will allow you to do is allow you to come in here and look at this profile, and you can see what the water temperature is sitting at right now. Right now, the water temperature is sitting at 50 degrees. The air temperature is at 52. And this was taken at what time? It tells you, you know, on the 11th right there. Okay, and so the reason why this becomes important, okay, is because we can take a look and we can go back and we can look at historical temperatures. And I can say, what year do I want to look at? And I can say, well, I want to look at last year because I remember some stuff last year on Lake Washington. All right. And now I can look at the red stuff right now on the map is what we've got going on for this year and the trend we're at. And you can see, but if I go back down to right there, that's where we're at. So we're above normal right now. Okay? That's really where we're at. We're above normal. We're about 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Because if we're in April, and we're right here right now, we're in April 11th to the 14th right there, 7th to the 14th. And then we come down here and we're looking at 2023. You know, we're not doing as hot as we were. So there's a little bit of gap in there. So we're a little bit ahead. So you kind of need to start pushing out there. I really start pursuing everything at that 52, 53 degree mark on Lake Washington because I want to find those pre-staging fish. It's one of those areas you kind of look at it. It's a bell curve. So what happens is in the beginning of the season is the water warms up, the fish show up right about, I'd say somewhere around there, probably about 55, 57 degrees. Those fish show up, but you got to get out a little bit earlier to find them. And then the same thing happens again in the fall. You're hitting that same area on the bell curve, but it's going down a lot faster. Fall's really good. You know, the fish have been eaten. They realize temperature's dropping, and they're going to fatten up. So those are some things that I wanted to show you and talk about. Hopefully, that'll help some people out. Again, if you're not a member of my YouTube page and you're in the Pacific Northwest and you want to start talking crappie, please sign up and subscribe. You can message me on Facebook and Panfish Northwest. I know the moderator over there, Sanford, and a few other people that kind of know me and get around. I'm not giving up my spots, but if you ask specific questions, I'll give you some information on what I do and why I do it. So with that said, you know, realize you're in the Pacific Northwest. Things are a little bit different than the rest of the country. We're about 2 months behind on average. Okay, so they're already in the spawn down south, Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi. Their spawn's in full swing. All right, they're catching them off the banks. Here with Washington, we got another problem. I mean, a lot of those lakes are right down there, down south. Their reservoirs are impoundments or oxbows. And up here, we have natural deep lakes. So we've got another little thing we got to worry about, and that's called, thermodynamics. You know, it takes a while for that water to warm up, and that water gets warmed up by the energy imparted by the sun on it, and so it's going to take a while for that's going to happen. But you got to be watching the data, and you got to follow the trends, and when it comes time to get on it, you need to get on it. All right. So hopefully you will like my page, subscribe, and maybe we'll be able to get to the point where we can do some podcasts. We can cover some information, put some stuff out, because that's kind of what I've been wanting to do for a while here, is put some information out that people can understand why I enjoy crappie fishing, how to go about crappie fishing in the Northwest. I'm not the first person that did it. My family's been doing it for a while. I'm a natural Washingtonian. Most of my family moved up here in the early 20s. But a lot of those people are all gone, so, you know, I got a few older relatives that are still around and everything, and I have a lot of fond memories with them. So that's what crappie fishing is for me. But we've got Idaho, we've got Oregon, we've got Washington, you know, and you got multiple places you can go to get some crappie if you want to make that drive. Biggest thing is learning that water and connecting with that stuff. And whether you're doing it in a kayak, you're doing it in a boat, a rowboat, you know, or whatever, these are the tools that I use. You know, I use Garmin products, electronics, fishing electronics, and I use Navionics maps because that's included with Garmin. I use LiveScope, and I run 3 transducers. I run an LV12 straight down under the boat and 30 degrees out, no black box. Heard me say that before. They don't make it anymore. It's been discontinued, but it serves its purpose for me, what I need it for. It actually goes down to about 200 feet. Lake Washington, it covers pretty much every water I go over. Kind of like, you know, your transducer. It's historical information as you pass over it. But with that LV12, I can see, there's something down there. And if I'm less than 50 feet, I'll drop down the HD Pursuit underwater camera, and I'll take a look at that stuff. So that'll give me an idea what species I'm dealing with, because there's nothing worse than thinking you're on crappie and being on sticklebacks. Big schools of sticklebacks, and lots of them. It doesn't do you any good. Ain't going to take them home and fry them up. Or a pike minnow. you know, you could be on some pike minnow and not even know it, you know, so, or perch, or that matter, or pumpkin seed, or bluegill. So that's kind of where we're at. Different things going on there. But I wanted you guys to know that I put a lot of effort into getting this thing up and running. People tell me I'm crazy for fish for crappie all the time. I'm going to embrace bass this year. I'm going to do some bass tournaments. I've done one, finishing the money on the first one. Like I said, thank you, Chris Carson, because he did the majority of the work. I found them. Like I said, we found them. I showed them. I know they were there. I just couldn't get them to bite. I lost my first 3 fish of that tournament. And I told him, I said, I'm going to go back to the boat launch. I'm going to get one. And he's like, yeah, right. And I knew I was going to get one. I went down and I seen it. It was like crappie fishing. Let me tell you, I threw a Tyvex with a Z-Man jig head on it. And I seen the fish take off after. There was actually 2. They were competing. And I watched him take it. And when he turned on it, I set the hook. Should have heard me scream, man. I thought you would thought I won the Bassmasters, you know. Because I've been out there freezing all day long, and I finally got that fish. And there's people who didn't get a fish. I mean, there was, I think, 28 fishermen, and 14 of those people got fish. So half the field got fish, which is pretty good for an opener, especially with the water as cold as it was. I mean, it was saying it was 46, 48 on the top, you know. So, yeah, it was pretty cold. But other than that, I mean, I wanted you guys to know there's some tools out here, and I'm going to go through them one more time. All right, so just remember, you've got Navionics. That's a good one to look at, and get your information here for your maps. Any lake that you want in the state, any place that you want, all right? And you can get back over to Washington State's fish locator by species and find a lake for your county, you know. Put in your county, you know, you can pick whatever county you want to be at. Take a look at Kitsap, and you go, boom, show lakes. And it's going to come back up, and it's going to tell you, oh, Long Lake in Kitsap County is the only lake they're listing that has crappie in it. Now, I've caught them there. But I've caught them in other lakes in Kitsap County, too, and they're not listed as being there. So that'll tell you right there. They are there. You know, and then the last one on the historical data, and I don't want to go to the buoy specifications, but, you know, you've got buoy data, and you could pick Sammamish, and it'll tell you right there, that water temperature is 52 degrees on Sammamish. That's hot. That's time to be out there right now on Sammamish. So if you're thinking about getting out, that probably be the place where I'd be heading to. I'm probably going to be there in the morning. So just so you guys know, that's kind of where we're at. So again, hit me up, Facebook, Panfish Northwest. Message me specific questions, people. Don't ask me where my spots are. I'm not going to give that stuff up. When you spend that much time trying to find this stuff and pattern these fish, that's not something you're willing to give up. You know, crappie aren't that hard to catch once you find them. It's the finding them that's the hard part. And you're going to need tools to do that. I mean, you can look around the lakes and you can see there's not a lot of access to some places. And most of the time I'm fishing offshore weed lines for finding my fish. And I'm moving. I'm covering a lot of water. So that's kind of the reason why I got the boat, because you can't cover that much water in a kayak. So I'm going to try to continue to advance how I use technology to present stuff to you. I mean, I've had a vision of this for a while and what I want to put out for the Northwest. Some people do it, some people don't. Some people like it, some people don't. It's okay. Everyone's got a cup of tea. As long as you're fishing and smiling, making memories with your family and friends, it's all a plus. It's all a plus. So until then, please check out and subscribe to my YouTube page. Hit me up, leave messages, like, subscribe. Let me know what kind of content you guys want to see. I mean, I'll start producing content. I've got a few things. You know, I do have a drone. Not really that good at flying it yet, but I can do some drone. I've got some other stuff I can do with some YouTube studio for flyovers and things like that, and content to really break down some lakes, individual lakes. Maybe some of you bass guys, you know, maybe you guys want to have a crappie guy's point of view of where I would look to find fish. I don't have any problem finding fish. I'm always finding them. Doesn't matter if I'm in the sound out there doing salmon, or if I'm out there, you know, looking for whatever else, you know. It just takes a little bit of time to know the species and figure out what they need to be at and putting that stuff together. So hopefully we'll get some feedback from this, and maybe we'll get some more people signing up and subscribing to the YouTube page. You know, I'm not making any money with this. I just have a passion about it, and got to get some subscribers, got to get some watch hours, got to get some sponsors. We got a couple events coming up. We've got the Crappie Shootout coming up down in Oregon at Brownlee Crappie Shootout down there. Jed's running that one down there, and what's his name? Justin's, they're running that one. And that's a kayak only event, or self-propelled craft, I believe. You got to check the website on that one. They're on Facebook too, Brownlee Crappie Shootout. Let's look at Washington kayak bass fishing. That's a good one. And there's chapters in Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. And you can fish all three of those tournaments once you become a member. Just got to pay that membership fee. Opens, you don't have to, and that's kind of why I fish the opens. But I think I'm going to do a few more of these this year. I'm going to try to get some content out of that. I'm going to really try to embrace the bass fishing. I mean, I catch smallies, don't get me wrong. It's them largemouth that cause me a bit of fits. I've always have a hard time catching those largemouth. So I don't know. Some people, I just never really got into chasing them, But I'm gonna try this year to do a little bit different on that. So thank you for listening and understanding where I'm at. And hopefully we can connect, and hopefully some of us will even get together and fish together. I do pull members out of the Facebook groups and things like that and message them all the time. And they've got good content. They're asking good questions, and I'll get them out there and get in the boat, and we'll show some content. So hopefully this will change stuff up. I made this page, Jamal's Focal Fishing Group, to be like a group community. I did have a private group, and I'm transitioning out of that right now to make sure that I can grow this thing. It's time to move to the next chapter. I had a lot to learn. Still learning every day. It's just a learning process. This technology and using this kind of stuff in the media and all that kind of stuff is not my cup of tea, but I'm going to make it work. So I want to thank you, everybody, for sticking around this long. If you did, if not, please subscribe, like, watch some of my old videos, talk to me on Facebook. I'll do more Instagram for you people on Instagram. I know old folks, we all do Facebook and everything. My son's always telling me that. But we can do what we need to do. So this is the new studio. Hopefully this will work out for a lot of us. And until then, like, subscribe, comment. It's Jamal Focal Fishing 253 Studio. Check it out.